8 West Indies, needing 1 run to win, responding to New Zealand's 111 for 4. Afi Fletcher hits this one in the air. They're running. The wicketkeeper is under it and will take the catch. We have a tied match. We're into a super over. Stacey and King, was it prophetic, or was it that the New Zealand magic worked, or the West Indies panicked at the end? You can describe to our listeners what happened so far in Game 4.
Well, New Zealand has held their nerve in order to get that last wicket of Fletcher. Well, that 9th wicket of Fletcher. That was absolutely poor shot from Afi, trying to go, and I understand she's trying to go over because all the fielders are in. But poor connection, and that's a dismissal for her, and the match is tied right now at 1-1-1.
Well, I agree with you. She had the option. She could have tapped it down, force a single, but she felt taking glory and going over the top. But as the New Zealanders walk off and the West Indies go into the shred, you are the one who would tell us what combination are we going to expect as far as the West Indies. We have what, as we look at it, New Zealand would also have to determine their batting combination, because the summary tells us Kerr did the damage for New Zealand, really excelled beyond the captain and also beyond the other top order batsmen. She could well be a factor when New Zealand bat. She scored 49 from 47. Fletcher did well too for 16, the mainstay for the West Indies. But when the West Indies batted, Chidi Nation actually did very well, came up with a critical 23, and she may well be in prospect as far as the shred is concerned. Sophie Devine, she was brilliant with the ball, 2 for 29, but Jesker, in my opinion, would have been the pick of the bowlers, not at the top, but in the middle overs, and she could well be a prospect for New Zealand. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how West Indies and New Zealand go for the super over, because Afi Fletcher was the best for West Indies at that time when they bowled with 2 for 16 from 4. For New Zealand, Sophie Devine. But from a batting perspective, a lot of questions, because whilst you want to think that New Zealand might go with Sophie Devine, Susie Bates, and possibly an Amelia Kerr, a number of other players have put their hands up. So an interesting phase here. West Indies, on the other hand, you'll think that Hayley Matthews, Alea Allen, and probably a Shadi Nation, because of the scores you've gotten. But Alea Allen has shown some aggression in that opening partnership. Also, Rashada Williams has shown some fearless cricket. So it's interesting to see who will be those players picked, whether it's to bat or to bowl.
Interestingly, just a year ago, we were here, West Indies versus South Africa, and we had the first super over in women's ODI. The West Indies won. The difference may have been that you had Deandra Dottin bowling that critical over for the West Indies. So we do agree from a West Indies standpoint that Hayley Matthews will be the opener, whether she goes with Alia Allen or someone else. Chidi Nation, on the current state of where she took the game, New Zealand, even though it may be a Divine Bates opportunity, I see Amelia Kerr playing a critical part in the batting. Whether they would upset that opening combination is another factor, but it's going to depend on how many runs the West Indies get, because on the rule, the batting team would just would be the one who will be batting. So I think it depends on how many runs. What is also going to be critical is where the over starts. If the over is bowled from the Sir Andy Roberts end, you're hitting into the wind. It's a non-starter. If the over is bowled from the Curtly Ambrose end, you're in with the opportunity of going with the wind. So these are some of the factors. As far as the West Indies are concerned, their pace bowling does not have the depth to bowl that super over. Pardon me if I am presumptuous, but it would be spin. But in New Zealand's case, what you're seeing of Jesker, what you know of Jensen, and what Sophie can do, they have the advantage, in my opinion, bowling wise.
Yeah, Sophie Devine, she was really good for her overs, for her spell, as well as Haley Jensen, who just finished things off in that last over.
But here is what it is. Sorry to cut you. Someone came out of the blue who we didn't look at. Coming out to open the batting with Haley Matthews is Natasha McLean.
Yeah, and I won't doubt that that decision would be made because Natasha McLean, she's a power hitter. She can clear the boundaries. This is more or less her format of the game, just to stand and deliver. I'm hoping from a West Indies perspective that she can deliver, but I know that Haley Jensen is not going to make it easy for her.
So, well, we're back at the Sir Viv Richards Cricket Stadium, and it's a super over here between the West Indies and New Zealand in this, the fourth ODI, after the scores were tied at 111. New Zealand scoring 111 for 4, West Indies 111 for 9. Haley Matthews faces Jensen. Jensen comes into Matthews, a full toss down the leg side. That will be 4 wides. So West Indies will start with 5 runs.
What a start. Definitely not a good start for New Zealand. West Indies won't mind this. There's still 6 balls to go.
Precisely.
And 5 runs is on the board.
The pressure is on New Zealand. I guess Jensen's pressure was seeing Haley Matthews. She thought she had to go for pace on. She went full throttle. Comes in. Hit in the air. Will the catch be taken? No, the ball falls between. They must come back for the second. They did not come back for the second. And Natasha McLean will face.
Well, we're hoping that they didn't go back for the second because McLean will not have gotten there. She has already been run out in the initial game phase.
My thought was if she gets out, that is okay once Haley Matthews could get to the other end. However, it is now 6 without loss. Ball number 2. McLean faces Jensen. Pulls this one down to back with a square for 4. McLean is striking with precision and power. The West Indies really on a huddle here.
Yeah, and this is what Natasha McLean has been sent out to do. She's been given the privilege to swing. Swing hard, swing high.
And play her natural game.
And good placement as well.
So she has come out. She came for such a time as this because she would have missed the 2 previous matches after scoring a first ball duck in the first. They are now coming to have a conference between Sophie Devine and Jensen. And, you know, we were talking earlier, and somehow I thought I would have gone with Jess Kerr on current form. You could be better than somebody, but this, to me, was Jensen's day. She looked the part from beginning to end, did not give up anything. Now you see players retreating, going back.
Yeah, they've opted to bring in that extra cover and put 2 fielders, a deep square and a deep mid-wicket out on the leg side.
10 without loss. Delivery number 3. Driven by McLean, pulled in fact forward of square. They have gotten 1, they must get back for the second. And they have gotten it quite comfortably, and I really like to see the confidence of Captain Haley Matthews in McLean. Allow the 2. She may be the better batter, but McLean is on a roll, and it speaks to team spirit. 12 without loss. Yeah,
agreed fully. And she knows that this is the type of game that Natasha McLean will enjoy.
Super over on a super day here. Down the leg side, onto the pads. They're coming through, and they've gotten the leg by.
Yeah, Natasha McLean just campered all the way in because Haley Jensen attempted to recover from her follow through and pick up, but didn't make that initial pickup to throw at the non-striker end where McLean was heading.
So we're into a super over, and perhaps it's Ali Aline padded up, or perhaps it's Chidin Nation. Would they require anyone? Haley Matthews on 1, McLean on 6. We had 5 wides. Jensen 2. Matthew pulls at that and did not connect. It was outside the off stump, a bit slow, and it kept a bit low. And had she retained her position, she could have picked out the extra cover. She could have picked out perhaps wide long on, long off, sorry.
Yeah,
and get a
even so,
boundary.
she could go through that extra cover region rather than up to try to pull leg-sided again, playing across the line.
Final delivery of this super over. Matthews goes down the track, down the line. Will it be? Oh, excellent recovery. They're coming back for the second, and they will get 2 runs, 15 runs off the super over for the West Indies. Hayley Matthews scoring 3, Natasha McLean scoring 6. They had 5 wides to their credit and 2 leg byes. Do you consider 15 to be a good score?
And all things being fair, yes, I do. And 15 runs of 6 legal deliveries, that is. But we know how this game of cricket goes.
It's an amazing game. We thought it would have gone either way, West Indies or New Zealand's way. But the game has spun into a super over. West Indies would have won the toss for the first time this morning and inserted the White Ferns, the ladies from New Zealand, who are leading the series, still are leading the series 2-1. We thought New Zealand would have gotten over 120, but they got 111 for 4. Then the West Indies replying 111 for 9. Then we are into the super over. West Indies play 15 without loss. Stacey Ann, which team would you prefer to be on in this situation?
Yeah, I'm a diehard West Indian, so I'm going all West Indies. And only because there's 15 runs on the board.
Well, I am a West Indian, but would I shock you to say I'm going New Zealand?
Well,
I would have to justify it.
that's okay, because we need some sort of fairness within the comms box. So if I'm going West Indies, then you have to go New Zealand.
Well, I have never been there on a flight. I have never seen the place. It's a place that I aspire to go to. So perhaps you would arrange that sometime. But the issue for me, I need to be fair. I see Hayley Matthews bowling that over. The pace is not available based on form, based on experience. No Chanel Henry. We have the situation with the younger pacers not delivering. Hayley Matthews is the senior pro, but here is the other issue with spin. Now, I am not against spin, don't get me wrong. With Sophie Devine, adept at spin, I assume they would go for Amelia Kerr, or if they want to stick to the opening combination with Susie Yates, either can handle the spin factor. It's a different situation than facing the first over setting runs or setting up an innings than facing the super over going after the runs.
Yeah, I agree fully. And we've seen how New Zealand bat. They move laterally quite well and they score laterally very well in this format. So it will be a challenge, not just to protect the long boundaries, which they can't clear because they're power hitters, but also to make sure that the right fielders are in position to stop those square boundaries.
Well, that's one of the points that you have made that is so clear. The right fielders in the right position, and that is something that the West Indies would have to look at. I would assume Coach Courtney Walsh and his crew would have had a discussion in terms of that plan. They have some weak arms, so they have to decide who will be where. Where would Alia Allen go? Where would critical fielders go? Who would be on the cover boundary? Who would be at long off and long on? Because rightly saying, whereas I spoke about spin, Hayley Matthews is very controlled, and we're not going to see 4 wides in the first delivery. I can guarantee that. If that happens, I would be amazed. So they're not going to see that. But what is important is the placement of the right fielders. What is also critical to me, whereas the New Zealanders like to move laterally, as you have established, I think they can also pick that extra cover region. And a decision or determination need to be made of whether or not you're having that backward of square, or whether you're going to have the extra cover on the boundary for that lofted drive. It's all in the captain's hand.
Yeah, and I agree fully. I agree fully with that statement, because it depends now on what line Hayley Matthews will try to bowl in this over. It's either that, because the field that she has set, it seems that she's going to try to bowl into the legs of the right-handed batters, which means she'll want them to score hit against the breeze that is blowing across the field.
And that would be the ploy. As an off-spinner, get it into the pads, let them take the chance, let them take the risk. They would need at least 2 sixes, or they would need at least 4 fours. Well, boundaries also come into play here. If at the end of the day, well, we're hoping we don't have a tie. But the fact is, they know that they cannot win this on singles and twos. Hayley Matthews is unlikely to be giving up 2 wides in an over of 6. So they have to score, and they're going to go big. If they're going to go big, clearly the West Indies fielding team would have to be on their tip-top form. Chedine Nation is at extra cover. You have Fraser. She's also one of the athletic fielders. Ali Allen is always in play. She's on the boundary. That's smart. Well, it depends on the approach that the West Indies take. Let's see who are the batters coming out.
Oh, for sure, it does look like Susie Bates and Sophie Devine.
So they're sticking with it.
Yeah, they're sticking with their seniority.
Yes, they're sticking with it. I think on the West Indies end that the experiment may have paid off to some extent with bringing in Natasha McLean and changing the original plan. So it is Sophie Devine, the captain, who is going to face, and Hayley Matthews. Is a captain situation here, captain to captain.
And Hayley will remember she did get her wicket, Sophie Devine, so a chance to...
This time she goes, and she goes big. Sophie Devine starts with a 6, a huge 6, a few rows back, and the West Indies are under the gun. Hey, Hayley Matthews, Sophie Devine went up the line, charged it well, down the ground, almost flat batted, and I think that may have made the difference.
Yeah, that's not the line that you want to bowl at all to Sophie Devine. You've given her width, and you've given her a chance to swing her arms. Well played, Sophie Devine.
The rest of the team, some arms akimbo. They got to call the captain. Come on, Skip. You're the skip. We got to encourage you. I agree with what you were saying. You got to go into the pads and force her on the onside. Not wit. You're not trying to take wickets, but you're trying to defend 15 runs. Hayley Matthews to Sophie Devine. She goes again. She will be out caught. The catch is dropped.
Kai Shona Knight, and the fielder, covered all the grounds, did all the hard work, but just didn't hold on.
Covered the ground well, needed just to stabilize herself, didn't do that. New Zealand getting 2 runs. Sophie Devine is on 8. 7 runs required here to go even. Can Hayley Matthews pull it off here for the West Indies? Captain to captain. She's edges this one. She was going down the line, got an edge, only a single. Game is still hot.
Yeah, at least so far there's been no wide balls, so 3 legal balls have been bowled. So 6 needed from 3.
6 need from 3. Not as easy. 7 for victory. 6 will tight. She's making some adjustment on the onside. I like to see that, because the thought must be to have her play onto the onside. In this case is Bates, Susie Bates. She goes down the track and she pulls at that. The ball strikes her high up on the thigh pad, leg by. Brings her captain back into play here. 10.
Yeah, which is a good move from New Zealand. They want Sophie Devine to be on strike. She's really been the hitter and the stalwart. Just a conversation between both parties.
The game would be decided in this delivery. A 6 would give New Zealand victory. A 4 would put them 1 behind. They need a boundary now. Yes, they can get a boundary off the last ball, but this is critical.
Haley has to bowl a full length. She has to bowl a ball that Bates Divine cannot get under.
Goes down. She may only get 2. Pulls it into mid-wicket. They've gotten 1. They're coming back for the second. They will get it quite comfortably. Still even Stevens here. 12 runs to New Zealand. They need 3 to tie it up again and 4 for victory. What is the mood out there, Stacey Ann?
Well, the mood should be to stay ready, to stay switched on. It's 1 ball. And this is what it comes down to, and this is what it's going to count.
Don't overthrow.
Don't overthrow. Don't misfield.
Stacey.
If you get the ball, get it inside of the wicketkeeper or to the bowler if they're by the stumps.
Even the indomitable Sophie Devine is nervous. They're having a conversation. They're going back to conversation.
Yeah, lengthy conversation.
It's just 1 ball that could decide it. She has to go big, and she knows she has to go big. I would like to pull back that extra cover on the boundary. I still would like to do that, but the West Indies captain, Hayley Matthews, the final delivery. Let's see the outcome. Comes in, Sophie Devine goes, and she goes big. She clears the boundary. It's 6. New Zealand have won the game. They have taken an unassailable 3-1 lead in the series. Gleefully, the 6 bringing up New Zealand's win. Pitch going towards her was on wicket, going down leg, swung across that huge windy section, clearing the boundary. Sophie Devine showing her prowess here, beating the West Indies. Hayley Matthews and her team will plan again. It's disheartening, but at the end of the day, excellent cricket. Stacey and King, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a very good shot from Sophie Devine. She advanced and covered the line of the ball and heaved it with all her might to the leg side. And again, remember that breeze that's blowing across. Well, that didn't matter this time around for Sophie Devine. She knew what she wanted to do and she executed quite well. Hayley Matthews, well, she'll be disappointed. An opportunity to win this match and level the series and go into tomorrow's match to fight for it all. But New Zealand, well, they've gotten the best out of this tour thus far. They've won the ODI series and now going 3 up in the T20s.
Yes, certainly taking an unassailable 3-1 lead in the series thus far. They must be proud of themselves, and why I said it is a New Zealand game. Chasing against the spinner is not easy. It's hard to fault Hayley Matthews. You can't fault her. 15 runs look good for a win, but Devine, she took the bull by the horn from the beginning, and once she would have gotten 6 of the first ball and now sealing it with a 6 in the final delivery. You must give New Zealand full credit. At the end of the day, the West Indies would come out of this a better team. New Zealand themselves must come out a better team.
Yeah, the amount of inexperienced players that they've used, New Zealand, who have gained experience on this tour, well, that in itself means a lot, or should mean a lot, to this new and rebuilding team. West Indies, on the other hand, they'll know that they came close in a number of the matches, but they haven't scored runs or put enough runs on the board for their bowlers. They've played really exceptional in parts, but they need to just work a bit more on their game awareness as they continue to go forward.
So an excellent game. We have witnessed it. In fact, we can say we were here. It's the second time for you, Stacey. It's the second time for me. I'm wondering if I'm a super overman, because the last time it was unbelievable against South Africa and the West Indies here. When that happened, you remember that it took about 20 to 22 minutes for the game to continue, because folks would have left. Folks would have thought that it was a tie. But then on this occasion, there was the realization that it was a super over. The West Indies stepped up nicely. I love the change. Captain taking the initiative. In this situation, it was Susie Bates and Sophie Devine, the captain, taking it over. At the beginning, New Zealand scoring 111 for 4 being inserted. Nothing much at the top for Bates and Devine then, just 13 and 8. But it was Amelia Kerr who hammered 49 from 47 deliveries to really get New Zealand up to 111, which was just a below par score, we thought. Down did come in and get 14. Green got 17. For the West Indies, though, it would have been a good start, Hayley Matthews and Alia Allen, but they fell 3 deliveries apart. Rashada Williams and Kaishona Knight came in. They re-established things, but they went 3 balls between each other. But then McLean, she came in, Natasha McLean, and really powered 13 in 7 deliveries to set it up. Yes, Amelia Kerr, I think, would have been the one who set the game up. Her 49, even though the power over was Sophie Devine, Amelia Kerr for New Zealand. When the West Indies batted, 3 for Hayley Matthews, 6 for Natasha McLean. At the end of the day, that outstanding 6 hitting on the part of Sophie Devine, 2 sixes, helped New Zealand. But I thought that the 2 outstanding players would have been between Amelia Kerr and also Jess Kerr, who really bowled exceptionally for the White Ferns.
Yeah, they did the hard work. New Zealand only managing 111 on the board. They did well to defend that total initially in that 20 overs, coming down to 111 for 9, restricting West Indies and forcing a super over to be able to win this match.
Super over. So for you who have joined us, thanks for joining us here at the Sir Viv Richards Cricket Grounds. On behalf of our team here, Stacey and King, Vernon, Springer, Ronnie, the technical crew, Michael, and all of the guys, we're so happy that you have been with us to witness this extraordinary match. 1-1-1, New Zealand 1-1-1 for 4, West Indies 1-1-1 for 9, and then in the super over, West Indies 15 without loss, New Zealand reaching 18 without loss off the last ball when they required a boundary to win. We were delighted. I'm Seth Burton. Have a pleasant day in the Caribbean, a pleasant night in New Zealand, or wherever else you may have joined us.